and hello and welcome to the episode 5 of the Milai's Knitting podcast. Today is the 26th of August 2023 and I am coming to you from rainy Switzerland where I live with my gecko, and that's it. You can also find me on Instagram as milai's.things, and that's also it. So, as I said, I am coming to you from a rainy Switzerland, which is actually a blessing because it's been so hot for so long and now it's the first day of rain in like a month. I don't know, maybe we had some storms at the beginning of August, but yeah, we've been having heat wave after heat wave after heat wave, and it's finally cooling down now and it's so nice. Actually, I closed the window because there was some road traffic outside, but I really want to open it again, so I think I will. Oh, fresh air. Yeah, so actually it was really hard the last weeks because I mentioned heat waves, but I'm talking real heat waves. Like, it was horrible. I love summer, it's my favorite season in the year. Since forever, I always loved summer and being hot and the sunshine and when it's dry outside, or I don't know, I just love it. And I hate winter. But yeah, it was really too much. I live in Switzerland, as I mentioned, and Switzerland usually gets pretty hot in the summer, but not for long, like maybe 5 days or over 30 degrees Celsius, which is this in Fahrenheit. But yeah, really not that long. And then afterwards it's just nice to be in. But this year, and actually the previous years too, it was just what the heck was going on. Like for the past 2 weeks we were over 30 degrees every day. It was nonsense. The problem is, I guess 30 degrees is not that much for some people in the world, but the problem is, since it is for here, we are not used to that, and AC doesn't exist. In homes, I mean. If you go to shops or whatever in town, in public spaces in town you can find AC. But inside homes, it's just not a thing. And the worst for me is that I live under the roof, as you can probably tell, which means it gets even hotter, and it doesn't change anything if I open the windows or not. It's just hot. So it was the same temperature inside than outside, which means for the last week it was 35 degrees inside my home. 35 degrees Celsius is 95 Fahrenheit for the whole week. And during the night it went maybe down to 30 degrees, but not under. So yeah, I need to open that window. I'm sorry if you can hear the traffic outside, but yeah, I need some fresh air in my life. Anyway, let's get back to knitting. So I came back from my holidays last week. I've been working for a whole week now. I will probably share some footage of my holidays. Actually, it was mainly mountain related and climbing. That's kind of the only thing I do apart from knitting. So I will share some footage, and at the end of my holidays I went to a festival and I took a video. I asked someone to take a video of me dancing. It has something to do with this knitting podcast thing because I am wearing knitwear actually. But yeah, stay till the end if you want to see this kind of epic video of me dancing at a festival. It's pretty funny. So for the knitting, I still managed to knit quite a lot during my holidays. I mean, probably the same as if I wasn't on holiday, which is pretty nice, I think. So I will have 3 finished objects. 3 finished objects. I have this thing I am wearing. I have my finished test knit for Little Kid Friends, and a pair of socks, self-striping socks. And also I will share about my WIP, my only WIP. I will talk about my next cast on and share some acquisitions. For once I have acquisitions, which is really, really rare for me. But yeah, pretty excited about that. So let's get into things. First, what I am wearing, which is, maybe you can tell, it is the Sept by Ozeda. I still don't know how to say that, Ozeta. Which I knit using a yarn from Lani Vendol. It's a linen wool base called Estiva. It's kind of a light fingering, almost lace weight. It's 300 meters per 50 gram. I have the leftover ball here. And the colorway is Poseidone. And I knit this thing on 3mm needles, which is kind of my favorite, I think. Between 2.5 and 3mm, it's just my sweet spot. I love it. So, this t-shirt, I won't get too much in details as to why the first version wasn't fitting me, because I talked about it a lot in the last episode, so go check my latest episode if you want to know more. But basically, I was knitting size 1. I finished the sleeves and I was like there in the body and it just wasn't fitting. So I had to rip almost everything out and do a lot of modifications so that it would fit me. So it's kind of a size 1, but only in the shoulder part. Then it gets to... it's not even the same pattern anymore. I changed everything. The modifications I made are, first I knit longer armholes. It's kind of a drop shoulder design, so I just made the... like you have the front panel and the back panel, and when I joined to knit in the round, I did that further away, maybe 2 or 3 centimeters away from what the pattern suggests. I also added some armhole shaping, which means I did some increases before joining, so that I would get a bigger body. Why can't I say the word body? Body? But I don't know, I'm sorry. You will have to hear body every time I talk about this part. Yeah, so that I would have a bigger circumference there. Not that it was too small before, but I just prefer to have more ease since this is a summer garment. So yeah, just wanted more ease. And also for the sleeves, did I say everything? Yeah, for the sleeves, I picked up, so the sleeves are bigger because the armhole is bigger, and I did some short rows to do a shoulder cap. You can see it if I hold my arm like this. You can see this part is shorter than the top part. That's because I did some short rows here, the shoulder, because I just prefer the fit. I don't like when the sleeve is like poking up like this. And so yeah, I just did that. I didn't do any decreases for the sleeve because apparently my arms are huge. I didn't want it to get too snug here, so I think it's nice like this. And I did folded over brims, no, hems, whatever, folded over things here, instead of the ribbing that's suggested in the pattern. I just always do it, I just love the look of that. And I don't like ribbing, I don't know why. That's just a me thing. Also, oh yeah, I completely changed the V. I mean, not completely, but the original one was ending like here, and it just looked too small. It was just too high. The proportions were a bit weird. You're knitting it top down, so you're doing increases for the V-neck, and I just changed the rate so that the V-neck would be deeper, which I think looks really good. And overall, I am really happy about this piece. It is fitting perfectly. I'm just so happy about it. But I'm a bit annoyed I had to do so many modifications to make it fit. I am not sure, maybe I should have just knit size 3 or whatever. But the problem with that is that the shoulders, the drop shoulder would drop too low, and I just don't like that look. So that's why I chose to stay with the size 1 and just make a bigger everything else, because I didn't want that to drop too low. So that's it. Also, I used maybe 125 grams, and the pattern asks for 4 balls of knitting for olive merino, which is a little bit heavier than this one, but I still have 1.5 ball left of this, which is annoying. I hate leftovers. But yeah, maybe I can do a camisole or something with it. Anyway, oh, I also had a kind of big trouble with the dye lots because I bought my yarn all at once, so it should have all been the same dye lots, but it's hand dyed one. Wow, it's hand dyed yarns, so you can't expect all the skins to be the same. It's perfectly normal, and I know it. But when I got the skins, I took the 4 of them next to each other, compared them, and they just looked very similar. And then I wound them all up, and while looking at the balls, I could see some were lighter than the others, or some were leaning more towards green and some were more blue. So I thought, oh, I will need to helical knit when I change the skin so that you cannot see the obvious change of color, because if I could see it in the ball, chances are I could see it in the garment too. So I did that in the first version, and I blocked it, tried it on, and I couldn't see the line. Maybe it was because I did the helical knitting, but even so, I did the sleeves in the other ball than the body. The body. And I couldn't see anything, so I just figured it was just in my head. There was no difference in color between the skins. But then, when I did this one, actually you can definitely see a line. I'm not sure you can tell in the video, but with some lights, and if I really look closely, I can definitely tell there is a difference in color between this part and this one. Which is very annoying, because at first I did go through the fuss of the helical knitting, and then I didn't, and I'm so annoyed with myself, because I knew there was a difference, and I still chose to ignore it, and now there is a line, but maybe you can tell, don't know, it really depends on the light. So yeah, that's how it is. I'm just gonna live with it. I won't read this out another time, I don't care. And you know, if I hadn't mentioned, you probably couldn't tell, and if you're not a knitter, nobody can tell, so really, it's just me, but I'm still annoyed, because I knew it. Anyway, I think that's kind of all for this. Just wanted to mention about the yarn. This is a delight. Like, it's amazing, it's wonderful, it's so nice. It's certainly not soft. If you're sensitive to wool, please do not wear this next to skin. It's not scratchy, but it's definitely rustic. It's not merino wool. The linen is not. I don't think the linen is scratchy, but yeah, it's a rustic wool. It's not superwash, but if I would get sweaty in this, I think it would start to be itchy. But for now, I'm okay. But I don't know. Every stitch with this yarn was just a complete joy. I don't know how to describe it. It didn't happen very much often with me, or with any yarn I tried. There are a lot of yarns I love to knit with, but this one, I don't know. Every stitch, every time I was putting my yarn, the needle inside the stitch, and then wrapping the yarn around and taking it out of the stitch, I was just amazed. It was so nice. Maybe it's because it's so fine. I don't know it, and maybe it's the colorway, because there is this dark teal turquoise color with the silver gray of the linen. I just don't know. It was just so nice to knit with, so amazing, and yeah, I don't know. It was amazing. That's why also I didn't really mind knitting this kind of twice, because yeah, I just loved every stitch of it. I cannot recommend it enough. It's just amazing. It's beautiful, and also the colorway. I knew it buying it, and that's also why this is my favorite color. But this teal blue goes so well with the brown of my hair. It's so nice. I don't know how to tell it otherwise. Anyway, I'm gonna stop bragging about this and change project. So the next one is my finished test knit. It is the Piping Hot Sweater by Lily Kate France, which is a test knit I did for her. So as you can tell, it's a sweater. It's a DK weight sweater, which I knit using Noro Kakigori in the colorway Inazawa, which is the purple variegated kind of yarn. And for the piping detail, I used Woolen Twine Fiber Studio Corridel Sock base, which is non-superwash fingering weight yarn, held double, and the colorway is Snowflake, which was variegated special for last festive season, last Christmas. So yeah, this is the completed sweater. It is a saddle shoulder design. You can see it better here. And the saddle shoulder is decorated with this nice piping thing, which is made with intarsia, and it's really easy, really easy. I had never made intarsia before, but yeah, there is nothing too complicated. Really, intarsia is like this big thing every knitter is afraid of. I was kind of before too, but really it's just a matter of, instead of just picking your yarn without thinking about it, you just have to consciously put the, like, if I was coming to here, I was just putting the purple yarn down and taking the lighter one from below and knitting, and that's it. That's intarsia. just take the yarn from below the other one, and that's it. So yeah, do not be afraid of this design. It's just amazing. It's really easy to do. The fit is nice. I am probably going to put it on afterwards because I want to stay in the cool in the cool breeze for now. But yeah, I knit it on 3.75mm needles. I knit size 1. I test knit size 1. But my sample is smaller than size 1, which is not made on purpose. But what happened is that I knit my gauge swatch on 3.75mm needles. The pattern suggests 4mm, but I was using this DK silk and cotton blend, and I knew it would probably grow with the washing, but not only in washing in the small gauge swatch, but also in the whole garment, because silk and cotton yarns just stretch out. So I wanted to use smaller needles for that, and also the gauge suggested on the label of the yarn. This is the leftover ball, by the way. I used 1.5, a little bit more. It comes in 200 grams balls, so I used 1.75. The gauge suggested is like 19 to 21 stitch gauge, and this one is 22 or something like that. So I thought it would just be better to use smaller needles. So I did. And my gauge swatch was erring on the bigger side, which means my stitches were a tiny bit too big. And I overcompensated while knitting the piece. I just yanked the hell out of my yarn while knitting, which means my gauge is a little bit too small in here. But when I noticed, unfortunately I was knitting on this while I was on holidays, which means I could have measured the gauge on my working fabric, but if it's not blocked, it's not a valuable information, so there was no point in measuring it in the first place. And when I came back home from my first week of holiday, I had already knit the whole body, the whole body, and finished the hem and everything. I blocked it, and that's when I noticed I had missed some rows in the front panel and the back panel too, the same number of rows, which is kind of amazing. I don't know how I did that. And the gauge was too small, so everything was a bit too small, and I was so annoyed with myself. And I had already done the whole body, finished the hem, and did the Italian bind off. And if it was just a sweater in stockinette, I would have just cut here below where I joined in around, and add 10 rows, and then graft back the body to that. But since there is this piping detail in the middle, I couldn't do that, or it would have been too obvious. I'm pretty sure I would have left a mark here, so I couldn't do surgery. So I just had to block really aggressively. It kind of worked, but it's still too small, so it's not... I asked Lily if it was okay for her, and she said, it's okay, go on. But yeah, it's still kind of small, and also, to begin with, I'm a bit too big for size 1. I should have... No, I was between sizes, but I could have picked size 2. But I picked size 1, and now it's too small for size 1, so yeah, it's annoying. Anyway, the sleeves... At first I just wanted to knit the sleeve as indicated in the pattern, but then I realized if my sleeve opening was too small, and I need the same sleeves as was instructed in the pattern, there was a chance the sleeve would be too big compared to the sweater. So I asked Lily, is it okay if I remove some stitches from the sleeve? She said yes, but you will have to recalculate the short rows because they are the same as this one, they are short rows forming a sleeve cap. So that's what I did. I also modified the decrease rate accordingly to my modification, and also since apparently I have big arms, I also changed the repartition of the decrease according to that, which means I did much less decreases on the first part and much more on the second part. They are more spaced here than here, which is not that noticeable, and also that's just what I need for a kind of sweater with taper sleeve to fit me, so I will try it on. I had to remove the thing I had underneath because you could definitely see weird lines here and it was not doing the sweater justice, so I removed it. So you can see it is biasing, and that's because this yarn, the Noro Kakigori, is single ply, and it's pretty common with single ply yarns to be unbalanced, which will result oftentimes, but not always, in a biasing fabric, which could be invisible if there wasn't a very obvious piping detail in the middle. So that I do not recommend using a single ply yarn with this pattern, but I blocked it kind of aggressively so that it would be straight. It was even worse before it was like this, and if I do the famous French tuck here, it will just force it in the right position and then it looks perfect. Also, it's not biasing on the sleeves, which is nice, but when I blocked it, I put the fold really obviously on the piping detail, which kind of forces the sweater to stay in the right place on my sleeves and avoids it to do like this. So yeah, it's fitting perfectly. I'm really happy. And yeah, the difference between the pattern dimensions and mine is that the sleeve opening is smaller on me. But it's still big enough, but you can see on the pattern picture, on the sample Lily knit for herself, you can definitely see the armholes are like super big, almost batwing style, and mine doesn't have that. So it's a perfect fitting sweater for my everyday wear, but it's not really true to what the designer intended. So keep that in mind. If you don't want the batwing style the original sample has, just forget 10 rows in the front and back parts and you will be good. Oh yeah, I played an epic game of yarn chicken for the pipings because she suggests 50 meters of decay weight for these, and I had like 90 meters of fingering weight, so if I held it double it was 45 meters, or I had around 40 to 45 meters of decay weight yarn for this. And I thought, since I'm knitting the smaller size and also I messed up this part, maybe I can get away with that yarn. I didn't. I managed to finish, I don't remember which one it is, I managed to finish the first sleeve, which is this one, with the yarn, and then I arrived to around here and I didn't have any yarn left. I mean, I had, but since I was holding it double, I only had one thread left. I don't know what I did, but anyway, so what I did is I fished inside my stash if I could find something I could swap with the second strand, because I was holding it two-stranded. I thought if I keep the yarn I have left for one strand and I find something similar enough for the second one, maybe it can work. And I found this, which is already a yarn I bought because I lost yarn chicken for another project. This is Woolly Mammoth Fiber Company. This is the natural sock base and the colorway is Wildflower Light. It's a very light purple, which is kind of the same light purple that's in this piping detail. It's a variegated white yarn with blue, purple and pink. So it's the same purple. So I thought I will try holding it with this one and do a little bit of the piping and see if you can see any difference. You can tell If I didn't knew, I couldn't tell. Like, it's almost the same color. It's amazing. But this one is definitely variegated with, you can definitely see white spots. And here, the white spots are not showing anymore. But I don't know, you can tell. It's just blending together so well. I'm so happy. I'm so glad I had this. So, not sure you can hear that, but there is like a garage band or something singing outside. I don't want to close the window. I will just finish talking about this, put back my t-shirt, and then close the window. I lost that yarn chicken, but I had some yarn in my stash, and everything went well, and everything is perfect, and I'm so happy. Yeah, the sweater will be out, I think it's September, not sure. I don't even know when the ending date was for the testnet. I just finished it very early, so no idea. I will put it somewhere if I can find the information, which I probably can. So yeah, that's it for the piping hot sweater. Back in my t-shirt, the garage band stopped singing, so I will keep the window open for now. My next finished object is my vanilla self-striping socks, which are here. I do have sock blockers, but they are like somewhere in the cabinet behind you, and I'm too lazy to go and get it. So I think I have a weird picture of my foot in the air with the sock on, so maybe I can show you that if you want to see the sock on the foot. So the yarn I used is 85% merino superwash merino blend with 50% nylon blend from Le Bruit des Aiguilles, which is a French-based company, and the colorway name is 500 jours ensemble, which is the title of a film I haven't seen. The owner of the company is basically doing clubs every month, and every month she chooses a film and she designs a colorway based on that film, and that's the club. It's not a club where you just receive the yarn automatically each month. It's just she puts out the theme and then you can choose if you want to buy it or not. It's not a subscription thing. So that's the first time I used the self-striping yarn, and it was lovely. I loved it. Really nice, really funny. I have matching socks, which is not what was intended at the beginning, but I managed, so I have them. And yeah, the heel is Fish Lips Kiss heel, and not sure if you can see that, but there is a small gusset. I need them toe up. I need those socks toe up on 2.25 short circulars needles, and they have 60 stitches circumference. But for the heel, I did the small gusset, added a few stitches, and I did the heel with 36 stitches instead of 30, because I have a big heel. And then I did another gusset to decrease the stitches down. And then I did 1x1 ribbing for the leg and Italian bind off, and that's it. And you can definitely see it's flaring out, but when I wear it, it is stretched out, so it's just okay. The only thing I would do differently is the foot is slightly too short. Like when I wear them, you can see this part, the diagonal line on the heel, is a little bit too much to the front. It's not really centered around my heel, so I am missing maybe 5 to 8 rows on the leg. No, not the leg, the foot. But it's not a big deal. I mean, it's a superwash yarn, so it's probably going to stretch out anyway. And I cannot stand when my socks get baggy, so I just prefer them to be too small than too big. Personal thing. Oh yeah, one thing also, they are not symmetrical. I have a right sock and a left sock. I just prefer that. And that's it. I have this much yarn left. I think if I had knit the foot bigger, and then knit the leg maybe 2 stripes bigger, I could have used everything. so I will know for next time. And for the contrast, actually I wanted to do the cuffs also in the contrast color, but I didn't have enough to do both socks, so I have leftovers. Which, if you know me, you know I am really annoyed and I don't know what to do with them. Probably just put them in my Granny Square blanket or something, I guess. Oh yeah, just don't know if that's of any interest to you, but I usually can knit in the dark, and I usually do. Also, when I'm going to the cinema, I do, and I knit the second leg during the Barbie movie, which is 2 hours. I think I started around in the middle of the white stripe, and I ended up probably like here in the blue stripe, so I knit almost the whole leg during the movie, and I did a lot of stops because I was knitting on the short circulars in the dark. It was kind of hurting my hands, so yeah, it was really a quick knit. Also, my boyfriend saw me knitting these and he just found them so cute, and just him finding my socks cute was so cute. I don't know. And he asked me if I could knit him some socks too, but yeah, we are both climbers, and he has been climbing for a lot longer than me, so our feet are kind of rough. Because when you're wearing the climbing shoes, they are really small and aggressive on your foot, so your feet get a little bit distorted by that, if I can say politely. And yeah, he's been climbing for a lot longer than me, so his feet are kind of, you can see they have worked a lot. So I was hesitant at first, and I told him, yeah, I'm not sure because your feet are really rough and I don't want to spend 10 hours knitting you socks and then you wearing holes in them in like 2 weeks. And he was so sad. He was so disappointed because he thought they were so cute and so nice, and he really wanted some too. And he was so disappointed when I told him no, because you're probably going to wear them, to wear holes in them. And I was like, okay, we can try. I will knit you a pair of socks, and it's just a pair of socks. If you wear holes in them, it's not a big deal. You know, I'm a fast knitter, as I said. I did that leg in less than 2 hours in the dark, so it's really not that big of a deal. I will knit you some socks. It's okay. And he was so happy. If you could see the face of joy. So yeah, I will probably knit some other self-striping socks soon, and hope they will last for longer than 2 weeks. It's not a big deal. I really don't mind. He was just giving a gift, like a handmade gift to someone that wants it so bad. That's enough in itself. So that was it for the finished objects. Now let's go to my only WIP, which is the Tolsta Tee by Rebecca Clow of the Creabea. And this is this is it. It's a raglan t-shirt. Really, it's just that. And you probably know that pattern by now. It's pretty famous, and it's a really easy one, but the special thing about it is that you have a modification sheet within the pattern that gives you indication to how to personalize the garment to your personal preference. So you can add stripes, you can add eyelets, you can add whatever motifs, as long as you don't distort the gauge. So I chose to stay in the simple side of things, so I'm not doing anything in the body. But what I'm changing is mainly the gauge, and I'm doing, as always, folded over hems and collar. So the yarn I'm using is, this is the left I have of a ball. I am using French-based company's yarn, which is, I'm gonna say that in French because I speak French. So this is de Rerum Natura. De Rerum Natura. And the yarn I'm using is the Antigone base, which is 100% linen, French linen. which is, as you can see, very drapey, and the ball is kind of collapsing on itself, and it is as annoying as you can imagine when you are knitting with it. But yeah, I love this yarn so much. It's just it's the same as this one. The finished object, the finished fabric is so nice and so airy and drapey and so perfect. I don't mind if the ball is a little bit annoying to knit with. It's okay, it's not a problem. So I am knitting this, and this is unblocked. You can probably tell there is kind of a line here. This is where I joined, so I weave my end as I go, so there is a kind of line here. That's because the end is kind of stiffening the fabric from behind. And this part on the top is yarn I have knit, blocked, and then frogged. And just knit straight away with it. I didn't do anything to remove the curls in the yarn. And then this bottom part is using fresh yarn, so from the ball, from this one, another one. So you can tell there is definitely a difference, and I hope it won't make any obvious line between the top part and the bottom parts, because sometimes your gauge can change if you knit with crinkled yarn or straight yarn, sometimes. And since this is linen, wow, this is so annoying. Not sure you can hear that, but there's a party going on down here. Yeah, so yeah, I just hope the gauge won't be affected by that. I did some major modifications to the raglan. First, you can see this is not the original pattern calls for ribbing for the collar, simple ribbing, and I did the fold over as I always do. And for the short rows, I added one pair of short row because I thought the front was not going down deep enough. I cannot stand when the collar hits me in the throat. I hate it. So I just added some short rows. And then for the raglan, I mentioned I'm off gauge, and I am using the fingering weight pattern because the pattern comes in two gauges, the decay gauge and the fingering gauge. I use the fingering weight because this is closer to what I have, even though this is a decay weight yarn. But yeah, the decay weight pattern is like 16 stitches per 10 centimeters. And this fabric is 22 stitches once it's blocked. For now it's probably 24, I don't know. But yeah, I use the fingering weight pattern, but the gauge is still smaller. The fingering weight pattern gauge is 24 stitches and mine is 22 once blocked. So I think there is a neighbor knocking on another neighbor's door because they are doing too much. They are too loud. Don't know if you can hear that, but anyway. What was I saying? Yeah, if I was on gauge, I would have knit the size 2, but my gauge is bigger, which means if I knit size 2 as is, it's gonna be too big. But as I mentioned with every other pattern I'm knitting, apparently my arms are huge, so I do need extra fabric in the armholes and the arm circumference anyway. So I thought I will just knit size 2 and do the armholes still a little bit bigger, even though it's gonna get bigger because of the bigger gauge, and I will remove some stitches from the body circumference and hope for the best. That's what I did. Basically, I just did the raglan increases as instructed in the pattern until like here, and then I did smaller increase rate for the body, and then I did the increase for every row for the sleeves for like 15 rows, which is a huge increase for the sleeves. And when I try it on, it's not blocked, so the armhole is going like up to here, which is obviously too high for a summer garment, but once it's blocked, the collar is going to loosen up and relax, so everything will go down, and I hope it will end up like this. Probably. Which could be perfect for a summer garment. So I'm going to block this right after filming this, and it should be dry in no time, and We will see if I have to do it all again or if it works as I did. We shall see. So maybe you are wondering, why did I use crinkled yarn for the top part? Oh my god, it's too hot. I had to close the window because of the party going on down there, but I think it's over. So you are maybe wondering, why did I use crinkled yarn for the top part? The reason is, I have knitted a self-drafted skirt, which I have never shared anything about on social media, maybe on Instagram, because I don't know. Actually, I'm completely tooting my own horn here, but it's probably the most beautiful knit skirt you have ever seen. It's really simple, but it's just, especially because of the yarn I used, which is this one, it's just, the drape is magnificent. I don't know how to tell it otherwise, it's just beautiful. I have made some footage of slow motion of me like moving around in the skirts, and I will probably try to put some here, I don't know. But yeah, it's just chef's kiss. It's beautiful, and I'm really happy about the way I designed the whole thing. Yeah, and I don't know, maybe it's because I love it so much. I've been so self-conscious about publishing anything about it on Instagram, even though I have published a post for every garment I have knit. But I don't know, this one I didn't, because I'm afraid. I don't know. So I have knit that skirt, and it was really a labor of love, because as you can tell, it's a rounded skirt, like a skater skirt style. So the last rows, I had a lot of stitches on my needles, and it was getting really long, but I'm a fast knitter, and I just wasn't thinking about it. I was just knitting. And it was too long, like not even 1 or 2 centimeters too long, it was like 7 centimeters too long. It was going down to my knees, and I wanted it to go up to the 3/4 of my thighs. And it was way too long. I had accounted for the fact that the yarn would grow, because it's linen, I knew that, but I miscalculated. So I had to rip back the 7 centimeters of that skirt. But since I had a lot of stitches on my needles, 7 centimeters meant a whole 100-gram yarn. So I had this skein left over, half of another one, and then 100-gram I had already knit, blocked and frogged. And I had those 250 grams left. And I wanted to knit another garment with it, but I just couldn't decide on a pattern. It had been more than 6 months since I finished that skirt, but I couldn't decide. I don't know. So finally I decided the Tolsta Tee would be easy enough, simple enough, classic enough to just be in that grey easy yarn. So that's what I'm doing. But as you can tell, I am almost done with the body. I want it to be the same length as this one. And if I put it here, and it's gonna lengthen with the blocking, so we are probably going to get down to here. So I'm only missing like 3 centimeters, or maybe an inch. And the sleeves, which are not going to be any longer than this. And I have a whole 100-gram left. So I will still have a lot of yarn left, which I'm really annoyed about. But I will probably do the same as with this one, which is probably like a flowy cami or something, which should not use too much yarn. So that's it for my work in progress. I think this episode is going to be 2 hours long. I'm sorry. That's it, because that's probably because I didn't film for 3 weeks, and usually I film every 2 weeks, and too much stuff happened. So next, I'm trying to speed up. Next, I will talk about my next cast on, which is pretty epic too. I have, maybe you know about the company Olan Yarns, which is based in Ireland, and they kind of closed their doors in the beginning of the year. And the owner of the company, which his name is Jessica, I think, Jess. She did some packs mystery packs where you could buy 5 skins for the price of 4 or something like that, or 10 skins for the price of 9 or 8 or I don't know, and get mystery packs. And you could, as you can always for those kind of things, indicate if you had some preference for the colors or the kind of yarn you wanted, or if you're allergic to mohair to mohair or something. And I mentioned in the comments I wanted only non-superwash yarns, because I had just bought some skins of non-superwash yarns and I love them so much. I never buy mystery stuff because I don't like it, but it was completely a panic buy. Because I love that yarn so much, I just wanted more. I didn't care for the color, I just wanted more of that fabric in my hands. So I bought 5 skin mystery pack, and I mentioned I wanted only non-superwash yarns. Then, after some time, I received a mail from the company saying my order was in transit, which means the company has notified the post office that your package will get to them shortly, and then the transit will actually begin. So I got that mail, and around the same day, or maybe the next day, Jess puts a story on Instagram showing 5 skins of non-superwash yarns with a little note saying, oh, your order are almost all processed, I am going through them as fast as I can, blah blah blah. And I was pretty sure that was my order. And I was so happy because it was just perfect colors for me. I just loved every single skein in that picture. They were all so beautiful. It was like blue tones, and there was a hot pink, and just cold jewel tones. It was beautiful, exactly what I wanted. I was just so excited. And then I waited for a whole week, and every day I would go and check the link where you can check the status of your package, where it is in the world. And it was not, the tracking had not even begun. It had not been given to the post office yet. So I waited for maybe 10 days, and then I sent an email to Jess saying, I'm not sure my package has left your house yet. Maybe it just slipped somewhere. Maybe it just dropped in your car, I don't know, but it's weird that it's taking 10 days for the package to arrive to the post office. So maybe, I don't know, just a heads up what's happening. I didn't get an answer, but the next day I got a notification saying my package was in transit. So I thought, yeah, probably she just forgot about it somewhere in a shelf, and she remembered when I sent the mail, and then she got it to the post office. And then 1 week later I got my order and I got non-superwash yarns and mohair in warm autumnal tones, which I really don't like. I know it's the game with mystery skins pack, but I was a bit disappointed because I mentioned in the notes I wanted only non-superwash yarns. I didn't say anything about the colors because I didn't really care. I just wanted the non-superwash base, and I got superwash mohair. I have another skin of similar colorway to this in iron weight, in like beige and orangey tones, really similar. And then I got 1 skin of non-superwash DK weight yarn. This one is beautiful. I already shared about it in the podcast. But it's a single DK weight skin and I don't know what to do with it. And I got all of this superwash yarn in colorways I really don't like. Like, it's not that I don't like them, they are beautiful. No, don't get me wrong. They are amazing, beautiful. This one is a festival of colors. It's so cute. There is like this purple, orange and green, and it's just blending together so beautifully. It's really nice, but it doesn't suit me. I just look washed out in this. And the mohair goes really well with this one, and it's also a really kind of the same colors but more muted. It's really beautiful too, but same, I just look washed out in this. And the brown, I don't like brown. This is really the only color I don't like, which is weird because my hair are brown, but I don't think it suits me and I just don't like that color. So I was left with those 3 skins, actually 4 because the 4th one is not here. And it was just stressing me out because, as I mentioned, I don't like having a large stash, and I especially don't like having single skins of stuff I don't know what to do with. And I don't wear enough hand-knitted socks to do socks with all of that. But then I will have mohair I don't know what to do with, I don't know what to pair with. I was just really annoyed. I was thinking about that for the whole year because I got this yarn like in February, and it was just in the back of my mind for this long. I was just pretty sure I would find a pattern one day when the time comes. And the time has come. So with those skis and this one and another one from Explorer Knits and Fibers, this is the earthy DK base in the colorway linen. Those yarns, I have a picture where you can see it better. I am thinking of doing a Feel Good Shawl by Andrea Maury. I have been craving brioche for the beginning of the year. I have freestyled some cowls or stuff in brioche, but I wanted some real endless rows of brioche forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever in a shawl. Actually, the person behind Holland, Jess, she's really good with colors. Like, she's really, really good. And those three go so well together. I mean, of course, it was a mystery pack and she did it so that they would go well together. And this one also does, actually, even though it's a really different tone than the other ones. It's just, yeah, especially with this one, it really goes well. And if I add this neutral in the blend, it looks nice. And the Feel Good Shawl is a DK weight shawl. You need 5 skeins of DK weight and you can use every bit of yarn you have because you just change color whenever you run out of yarn. So I'm gonna do that. It's a little bit more complicated because 2 of them are fingering and this one is mohair, so I will need to be cautious about where I hold the yarn double and whatever, but I think it can work. And now that I have the idea set in my mind, I am so excited to cast it on. Just want to do it right away, but yeah, I really need to swatch first because those colors are, yeah, it can be a hit or miss, really. So that's my next plan, and that's it. I'm gonna wind those up right after I finish filming and start swatching and hope it works. Now for the last part, my acquisitions. The last pre-order from Woolberry Fiber Co., which was the Caboose collection, I have bought a sweater quantity of Shake Your Tail feathers in a non-spowash DK base, which is so soft. much softer than the Explorer Knits new DK base. This is a new base. This is kind of, it's rustic, it's definitely rustic, but this one is like baby bum soft. It's very different. I just bought this single skein just to try out the base and I just prefer this one. So yeah, I bought 6 skeins of that, and believe it or not, it's my only sweater quantity in my stash. I only have those kinds of lost single skeins I don't know what to do with because I got them in the mystery pack, or leftovers, and 1 or 2 single skeins I use for summer garments, and that's all. I don't have sweater quantities. So now I do have one, but I already have a plan for it. I will cast on soon a Lanark sweater by Rebecca Clow from the Crea Bea, which is like a zipper up color sweater in half fisherman's rib or half brioche. And I wanted that sweater for so long, and I just think in this color it's gonna be so perfect with my hair in my favorite color. Yeah, and it's gonna be so soft. I'm so excited. But for now it's still too warm, even though it's finally raining. I'm going to wait for probably a few months before I cast this on. But yeah, I'm really excited about this one. And it's so soft. Oh my god. So yeah, and also I bought some wool wash, which is the Orange Grove scented. I have not tried it yet because I want to finish the other one first. But yeah, Bethany from the Woolberry company said it had an otherworldly smell, so I believe her and I'm gonna try that. I also bought the tote bag, like the big size bag with the fox printing, but it's currently in the washing machine, so you will just have a picture to believe me. So that's it for this long episode. I'm sorry, I hope it wasn't too boring. Too boring. Yeah, I will now leave you, as I said in the beginning, with some footage of my holidays and that very special video of me. Yes, I wanted to say that video of me dancing at the festival is actually the things that's really special. There are two things. First, I am wearing that skirt I mentioned that I knit in this Antigone linen base. So you can see that in motion, not only in a staged scenario with me being inside my home and filming 10 times before I get the perfect shot of the skirt moving, but this is like real deal in the real life, and you can just see how well it moves, how amazing the drape is, and how it floats so lightly, and how beautiful it is. You will just see it's. I'm sorry, but it's beautiful. I just designed something amazing. So yeah, you will see that. And the second thing that's really special is actually I learned to dance a few years ago, like dancing I don't know how you say that in English, but like couple dances, like rock and roll or swing dances, etc. And in that video in particular, we are dancing Lindy Hop, which is a kind of swing dance. What's funny is that I was at electro music festival. So the kind of dance we are doing is absolutely not suited for the music that was going on, but it was maybe the first music in the whole festival where the beat was at the right speed for dancing. So we just jumped on the occasion and started dancing, and it's pretty funny because you can see the people around us are like, wow, because it's so out of the place. It's so weird to dance swing in the middle of an electro music festival. And yeah, it was a really, really funny moment. I loved it. And yeah, so there's this video that's coming up, and I will also share some videos of my holidays, as I mentioned, so mountain views, climbing views, and I will put up a timestamp when the time comes. But if you have a fear of the height, don't watch the last clip, because basically we made, I don't know how you say that in English again, it's like when the rope is a certain length and you cannot climb longer than the length of the rope. So if you have a mountain that's higher than that, you need to climb first section, then the person that's belaying you comes to you, and then you start climbing again from that point on, and you do small sections like this without ever touching the ground. You are just going higher and higher and higher. So we did that, and when you go down, you don't climb down, you rappel down, which means you do whatever you need to do for your rope to stay at the top part of the route, and then you rappel down, and it can go pretty fast, and it's really funny because you are often hanging on the rope and just going down like as if you were a spider, basically. And I stopped in the middle of the rope and I took out my phone and started filming, so I am basically hanging on a rope 100 meters above the ground. So if you have a fear of heights, please do not watch this clip because it's pretty scary. But yeah, I filmed the ground, I filmed the upper part of the mountain, and I filmed the whole view around me, and it's breathtaking. It's so beautiful, like it's amazing. You don't get a lot of opportunities to be hanging in the middle of a mountain and filming all around you like this, and yeah, it's a really, really precious view, and if you can watch it, I recommend you do because it's beautiful. Yeah, and I think that's it. I will now leave you with the footage, and I hope you enjoyed hearing me talking about my knitting for 3 hours. Hope you didn't get too bored, and I am excited to see you next time with my finished objects and everything. And yeah, please stay hydrated if it is still warm where you are, and stay warm if it is cool where you are. Have a nice rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.
Dès que j'aurai fini de faire la caméraman.